Chapter 841. Lin Chia's Training. Fool, of course it's because the bad guys all laugh like this. The pale spider-like figure flickered and transformed into the appearance of the child Aishu. He crossed his arms over his chest and said in a wise beyond his years tone, "You're still too young. There are many things you don't understand. Just follow me, the minister, and you won't suffer any losses. Oh. You two stop playing around. There are still a few new recruits hiding in the underground shooting range to the southeast. Go and drag them out." Lin Chia's voice suddenly echoed in the minds of the two. Upon hearing this voice, Zhu and the raccoon immediately stood up straight and replied seriously, "Yes. Dean, we guarantee to complete the task." Office building rooftop. Lin Chia stood alone, his eyes tightly closed, his mental power already covering the entire training camp. In his perception, the movements, positions and expressions of every new recruit were clearly presented. He was like a large tracking processor, firmly grasping the situation of every new recruit in the camp. While tracking the new recruits, he communicated with the caretakers using his thoughts, directing them to pursue different targets. These caretakers had signed a summoning contract with Lin Chia, allowing them to communicate seamlessly even without modern information transmission devices. To the new recruits, this was just a simple chase. But they were unaware that from the very beginning this was a one-sided chess game. In this chess game there was only one player, Lin Chia. Using the training camp as the chessboard and the mysterious caretakers as the pieces, he systematically hunted down all the new recruits. He decided when to mobilize a large number of caretakers to pursue a specific group for an extended period, forcing them to unleash their potential, when to slow down these caretakers or have them chase other new recruits, giving the already exhausted recruits a chance to catch their breath, and when to use thunderous methods to capture some recruits who had reached their limits, forcibly removing them from the battlefield to prevent irreparable damage from prolonged extreme exercise. To the new recruits, all of this seemed chaotic and random, yet it was filled with hidden intricacies. In this chase, the most exhausted were not the desperately fleeing recruits, but Lin Chia, who was secretly controlling everything. Fortunately, as more and more new recruits could not hold on and were forcibly removed from the field, the number of recruits Lin Chia needed to pay attention to gradually decreased, and the pressure also lessened. From the start of the escape until now, about 2 hours had passed, and the number of recruits on the field had sharply decreased from over 600 to around 400. This batch of new recruits, due to a large-scale expansion, had a mix of quality with many being physically weak. To have lasted this long was already their limit. Of course, the effects of just these 2 hours of escape were far more effective than simply carrying weights for 5 or 6 hours. Perhaps even the recruits themselves did not realize that in this extremely tense and high-pressure environment, their potential was being rapidly tapped. Their physical strength, endurance and willpower were all quietly improving. If given a little more time, their physical fitness would undergo a tremendous transformation. Dawn broke. Tanshang City. Morning mist enveloped the desolate and lonely mountains, and a young man walked slowly and steadily along the rugged mountain path, filled with gravel, toward the summit. "Is this your hometown?" The voice of the demon child echoed in his mind. "You're so remote and desolate. Are you really willing to live in a place like this forever? Don't you have any money?" "No way, with your current strength, isn't money something you can have as much as you want? As long as you have money, you can go to the most prosperous cities, buy the most expensive and luxurious houses, and find 4 or 5 dozen women." "Shut up." Lu Baoyu frowned tightly and suddenly shouted, his voice echoing across the empty mountains. "I find it strange. Deep down, do you really have no desires?" The demon child continued relentlessly, "Why do you suppress yourself? Why not unleash your true nature? You are the agent of corruption, yet why do you resist it? Can bring you joy, power and everything countless people dream of. What are you holding on to?" Lu Baoyu took a deep breath and ignored the demon child in his mind, for he knew that the more he engaged with it, the more it would enjoy speaking. He had been driven nearly mad by the demon child on this journey. The demon child was right. Its existence posed no threat to Lu Baoyu, but that was only on a physical level. On a mental level, this creature was like a piece of gum stuck to the sole of his shoe, tormenting him to the brink of insanity. From the moment he left the train station in the capital to arriving in Tanshang County, and now in this wilderness, the demon child was like a devil trying to lure him into the abyss, constantly tempting him. The most critical part was that the demon child's irritating words constantly stirred the rage and ferocity deep within Lu Baoyu. Under the influence of the fallen angel's power, he felt like a powder keg, easily ignited, and with the demon child's provocation he could hardly control his inner fury, his emotions igniting uncontrollably. Yet Lu Baoyu had no way to deal with it. If it weren't for Lu Baoyu constantly suppressing his emotions, that train would have probably exploded countless times by now. After enduring this torment, Lu Baoyu's spirit had been severely tested, but in an intangible way his control over his emotions had slightly improved. While enduring that annoying voice, Lu Baoyu slowly made his way along the mountain path and arrived at a small mountain village with almost no inhabitants, stopping in front of a 2-story small villa painted white. Amidst the surrounding low houses made of cracked earth bricks, this small villa stood out, looking particularly conspicuous and out of place. The demon child exclaimed in surprise, "This is your home? The decoration is much better than I imagined. It seems your family isn't that poor." Lu Baoyu ignored him, quietly gazing at the small villa, remaining silent. It hadn't always been like this. 7 or 8 years ago this place, like other nearby buildings, was a small, dilapidated earthen house. He was born and raised here, until one day his father Lu Qiu, who had been away from home for many years, suddenly returned with a large sum of money, saying he wanted to take the family to the city for a better life. However, his grandmother, attached to her homeland, refused to leave, so Lu Qiu could only spend money to renovate this dilapidated little house, turning it into the best building in the village, which made the other villagers envious at the time. Chapter 842. Past Events. At that time, Lu Baoyu was only 10 years old, at an age of innocence. The sudden return of his father left him somewhat at a loss. Just as he was about to start accepting the other party, Lu Qiu suddenly left. This departure marked many years without return. Lu Qiu made the Lu family the most envied household in the surrounding villages. People in the village speculated that Lu Qiu had become wealthy outside, but because he rarely returned home, various rumors began to circulate. Some said he had become a big boss outside and married a young wife, making Lu Baoyu's mother a concubine. Others claimed he was involved in illegal activities, earning a lot of money, but was afraid to return for fear of being caught by the police. There were even whispers that he had become a wanted criminal because someone had seen him secretly storing knives and guns at home. Young Lu Baoyu didn't understand these things, but he could feel that others looked at him strangely. Envy? Jealousy? Mockery? Pity? Perhaps it was from that time that the seed of resentment took root in his heart, and as he grew older, this emotion was fueled by the rebelliousness of adolescence, becoming increasingly uncontrollable. Lu Baoyu stood at the entrance of the small villa, his expression somewhat complex. It had been a long time since he left home. During this time away he had experienced much and had entered the realm of the Night Watchers, learning about their existence. Because of this, when he returned to this doorway he suddenly realized that his views on some things from back then had changed. Deep in his memory, those angry golden eyes resurfaced, and Lin Chia's voice echoed in his mind. "Do you think you can grow up safely, roam freely outside, and stand here arrogantly claiming you will kill a night watcher? Why is that? Because you are lucky? Because the world is supposed to be this way? Nonsense. It is because countless night watchers are bearing the burden for you." Night watchers. Lu Baoyu reached out, gently rubbing the heavy door, feeling suddenly weighed down. "Hey, isn't this little Baoyu?" A frail voice came from behind him. Lu Baoyu turned around to see an elderly man leaning on a cane, waving at him from a small low house. Little Baoyu was Lu Baoyu's nickname. He recognized this old man. After all, their families were neighbors back in the day and he often visited next door as a child. However, since he began to rebel they had hardly interacted. Lu Baoyu pursed his lips but politely nodded. Just as he was about to knock on his own door, the old man's voice rang out again. "Why didn't you come back when your father was buried a few days ago?" Lu Baoyu's hand suddenly froze in midair. After a moment he stiffly turned his head to look at the old man, frowning as he asked, "What did you say?" "I said, why didn't you come back when your father was buried?" The old man repeated, "It's been so many days since the burial, and all the relatives and friends who came to pay their respects have left. Why did you only just return?" "Lu Qiu." Lu Baoyu's frown deepened as he quickly walked to the old man's door. "He's dead? How did he die?" "Seems he died in battle." A look of reminiscence appeared in the old man's eyes. That day it was pouring rain and several big trucks drove up from the mountain. Then many soldiers in uniforms got out carrying a grand coffin and knocked on your door. In that coffin your father was draped in a dark red cloak, covered with a national flag, and there was a shiny something, a medal? I remember your mother and grandmother were crying so sadly. Those soldiers gave your father a grand funeral. Everyone from our village and the neighboring village came. It was quite lively. I heard them say your father had made great contributions and was a hero of our great Xia. The old man couldn't help but sigh. I never expected little Chiu would be out serving in the military all these years. Our village has produced a great hero. This is a matter of great pride. Lu Baoyu stood frozen in place. Lu Chiu died in battle? Just a couple of days ago? Little Baoyu, your family now. Before the old man could finish, Lu Baoyu suddenly turned and rushed to his home, banging on the door with force. Soon a voice came from inside. Who is it? As the door opened, an elderly and haggard figure stood behind it. Upon seeing Lu Baoyu, who was 2 heads taller than her, she froze for a moment. Grandma. Lu Baoyu looked at the old woman with red-rimmed eyes and spoke in a hoarse voice. Grandma's lips trembled uncontrollably. She stepped forward and embraced Lu Baoyu, her silver hair cascading onto his chest, choking back tears as she said, Bao, why did you only just come back? Your father. At that moment, a middle-aged man dressed in mourning clothes stepped out from the villa. Upon seeing Lu Baoyu outside, he narrowed his eyes slightly. When he saw Lu Baoyu also noticed him. Grandma. Lu Baoyu pointed at the man. Who is he? He is your father's colleague. He helped arrange our family's funeral, Grandma explained. The man walked up to Lu Baoyu, patted his shoulder and sighed. You must be Lu Baoyu, right? Let's go somewhere else to talk. On the path behind the mountain, Lu Baoyu walked alongside the man. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lu Qi, the deputy captain of the 287th Squad of the Night Watchers stationed in Tanxiang City. The man took out a cigarette from his pocket and offered it to Lu Baoyu. I don't smoke. Oh right, you're still underage so you can't smoke. I almost forgot. Lu Qi raised an eyebrow and put the cigarette back. I heard you just returned from the Night Watchers training camp? Yeah. How much do you know about your father's situation? Lu Baoyu remained silent. Lu Qi looked at him for a moment, then smiled wryly. It seems you don't know anything at all, huh? Seeing Lu Baoyu not deny it, Lu Qi continued. Lu Qiu back in the day left from our Tanxiang city. On the long and winding mountain road, the two slowed their pace, the gentle breeze brushing through the hills, carrying the scent of earth and greenery, as they listened to the story buried in the sands of time. After an unknown amount of time, they reached the summit of the mountain, where a gray stone tablet stood quietly. Lu Baoyu walked up to the stone tablet and stopped. Chapter 843, Family. Qinlong Pass. Starry Metal. After hearing Lu Qiu's story, Lu Baoyu stood in front of the stone tablet, lost in silence. On that stone tablet a few large characters were engraved. Grave of the martyr Lu Qiu of the Great Xia. Lu Qi stood beside him, glanced at the stone tablet and explained, the bodies of the Night Watchers are quite special. They can only remain in designated cemeteries. So what's left here is merely a symbolic grave. Moreover, the existence of the Night Watchers is classified, so this stone tablet can only state this without revealing their existence. If you wish to pay your respects, you can go to the cemetery at the base of Team 066, where his actual gravestone and body are buried. No, it's fine. Lu Baoyu paused. I'm not a Night Watcher. I can't enter their cemetery, nor do I have the right to enter his cemetery. After all, he was just a new recruit expelled from the training camp, unable to even walk through the gates of the Night Watchers with dignity. Why should he enter their cemetery? Lu Qi looked at him. I've heard that your talent is quite good. Even if you didn't make it into the Night Watchers this time, there will always be opportunities in the future. Of course, you could also pretend nothing happened, sign that confidentiality agreement and go home to live like an ordinary person. He pulled out a document from his pocket and handed it to Lu Baoyu. After the Night Watcher died in battle, the compensation amount is a substantial figure. When your father signed the contract, he decided to leave a portion for supporting the elderly and his wife, while designating most of the compensation to your name. This money is enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life. You could go to a big city, buy a nicer house, marry a gentle and beautiful wife without having to work, without having to bow down, without compromising. You can rely on this money to stand tall and live out the rest of your life. Lu Qi turned around, casting a complex glance at Lu Baoyu, and walked past him, heading down the mountain alone. His voice echoed softly. But I hope you understand, the reason you can live this kind of life is because your father's backbone supported a sky for countless people. Lu Qi's figure gradually disappeared from the mountaintop, leaving Lu Baoyu standing alone like a statue in front of the stone tablet. A gentle breeze blew, rustling the fallen leaves around the stone tablet, making the document in Lu Baoyu's hand, which bore generous numbers, rustle softly. "Hey kid, you're not really swayed by that, are you?" At that moment, the voice of the demon child echoed in Lu Baoyu's mind, sarcastically saying, "That money? Our ancient god church can give you 10 times that. And you talk about going to a big city, buying a nicer house? Marrying a beautiful wife? What's the difference from an ordinary person? With your potential, being an ordinary person is such a waste. You should become an absolute superior being with endless money and countless women to play with. As for your backbone, what kind of person dares to touch the backbone of the fallen angel's agent? Who dares to make you bow down? You should be the one above countless beings, not just an ordinary person. Shut up. Join the ancient god church. When the evil god descends and the world falls into chaos and darkness, you will be the supreme being above all life. Whatever you want, whatever you wish to do, won't it all be just a thought away?" I said shut up. Lu Qiu was just a fool brainwashed by the night watchers, who worked himself to death for a broken pass and some strangers. This story sounds so stupid. Such a fool is worthy of being your father? Does he even know that his son is the agent of Lucifer? That he is destined to be above all beings? He died well. Now no one can dictate your life. This annoying fly, brainwashed by the night watchers, spouting about righteousness and morality, the common people. It's truly laughable. He died for the so-called common people, but who among them knows him? And you, when the evil god descends, are destined to be above all beings. Who among them would dare to defy you? The incessant voice of the demon child echoed in Lu Baoyu's ears. Standing before the stone tablet, he felt an unprecedented flame burning fiercely in his heart, his eyes filled with rage, nearly spilling over. "Shut the hell up." Boom. A pair of dark red wings suddenly unfurled behind him, causing the entire mountain to tremble slightly. Lu Baoyu's eyes turned blood red, his chest heaving violently as a wild and violent divine power surged from within him, whipping up gusts of wind around him. "What are you? A lost dog whose soul has fled, thinking you're still a person? Shut your damn mouth." Lu Baoyu took a deep breath. Amidst the raging divine power, his crimson eyes filled with struggle and fury. He pointed at the stone tablet and roared through the forest, "That's right. Lu Qiu is just a bastard who abandoned his wife and children, lacking responsibility, neglecting his family. He is not a good father. He shouldered the burden of the world. Yet he couldn't even bear this small family. But so what? I didn't understand before, but now I understand. All these years my grandmother never complained, waiting for him to return every day. My mother sat at that door waiting for him for over a decade, just to let him know. This family he couldn't support is not a burden but his support. Family should not complain like a resentful wife about whether he comes back or how long he stays, but should give this exhausted man a home where he can put everything down and rest peacefully when he returns." Lu Baoyu seemed to have exhausted all his strength, gazing toward the place where his small house stood, and weakly smiled. "I can't believe I only understood such a simple truth now. What does that have to do with you? He's already dead. Are you going to give up everything for a dead man?" The demon child's voice slowly emerged. "Don't forget your identity. You are Lucifer's agent. Among all the people in Great Xia, you are the only one chosen. You need to think about your future, not act on impulse and become a prisoner of your emotions." Lu Baoyu remained silent. He quietly approached the stone tablet, crouched down, and gently rubbed the characters that read, "Grave of the martyr Lu Qiu of the Great Xia. He is indeed dead, but he used his backbone to support Qianlong Pass as well as the lives and families of millions in Great Xia. That is what he devoted his life to leaving behind. I absolutely cannot shatter his backbone with my own hands." Chapter 844. I want to go back. What do you mean? Are you planning to return to the Night Watch? The voice of the demon child turned cold. Don't you understand? In their eyes, you're simply not fit to be a night watcher. They won't want you. It doesn't matter whether they want me or not. If one attempt fails, I'll try again. If 2 attempts fail, I'll try 3. No matter what, I will get in. Lu Baoyu's eyes ignited with an unprecedented determination. Lu Baoyu stopped, took a deep breath as if he had made a resolution, and slowly placed his left hand over his pitch-black left eye. What are you trying to do? The demon child's voice faltered, clearly becoming anxious. I want to return to the night watch. You cannot go back. Lu Baoyu's voice was very calm, a hint of crimson appearing in his eyes. At the same time, the fingertips of his left hand gradually pierced into his eye socket. Fresh blood flowed down and his body trembled from the intense pain. Are you insane? The demon child's terrified voice echoed again. You're willing to go this far just to become a night watcher. Enough, enough. I get it. I won't say anything more from now on. No matter what I see among the night watchers, I'll pretend I didn't see it. I absolutely won't leak a single piece of information. I really... Sizzle. Lu Baoyu's mouth opened silently as he hunched down, blood streaming down his cheeks. His left hand gripped that pitch-black eyeball tightly, trembling as he pulled it from his eye socket. In Lu Baoyu's remaining right eye, a crimson light flickered again, the power of the fallen angel mending his wounds, and the blood gradually ceased. Finally, it's quiet. He slowly stood up, tossing his left eye to the ground, taking a step forward and crushing it underfoot. Lu Baoyu raised his head, his blood-streaked face showing a hollow left eye tightly shut, while his right eye glowed red like blood. He left a trail of bloody footprints as he walked to the stone tablet, resembling a mad demon from hell. I'm leaving. He extended his left hand, gently touching the surface of the stone tablet with his bloodied fingertips, leaving a deep red blood stain. He murmured to himself, "Wait for me, I won't bring shame to the Lu family. What you can do, I can do too." He took one last look in the direction of the villa, hesitated for a moment, then chose not to go home, but instead opted for another rugged and treacherous path down the mountain, slowly stumbling down. Training camp. The sounds of screams echoed from all directions as Lin Chia slowly opened his eyes, a hint of fatigue appearing on his face as he looked down at the time. 2:30 in the afternoon. Since the escape training began today, it had already been 11.5 hours. After such a long time of summoning the group caregivers, along with coordinating the situation of all the new recruits, Lin Chia was utterly exhausted, feeling even more tired than after battling Klein in the realm. Fortunately, there were only a few new recruits left on the field, and he basically didn't need to worry about anything anymore. Lin Chia's mental energy was constantly focused on the few remaining new recruits, his brows slightly raised. This batch has quite a few good seeds. I can't go on. I really can't. Dingo, wait for me. Su Zhe, dressed in a dusty new recruit uniform, stumbled behind Ding Chongfeng. After climbing over a wall, his legs gave way and he collapsed to the ground. Ding Chongfeng, sweating profusely, turned to look at Su Zhe on the ground. There are still 2 hours left. Just hold on a bit longer. I really can't move at all. Su Zhe gasped, waving his hand. I'm not like you, Dingo. You're from a military background with excellent physical fitness. I'm just a homebody who stays at home every day. Please don't make it hard for me. Ding Chongfeng raised an eyebrow, pointing not far away at a girl who was agilely rolling between various obstacles. Your sister is also from an ordinary background and she can do it. Why can't you? Is that the same? Su Zhe couldn't help but retort. You call a professional extreme sports enthusiast an ordinary person? You must have some misunderstanding about the term, ordinary person. The distance she covers in parkour could circle around the city of Beijing several times. But she's still your sister, isn't she? As her older brother, don't you feel embarrassed always showing weakness in front of her? Ding Chongfeng said with a hint of melancholy. What can I do? I'm not willing either, but I really am not good at sports. By the way, when your sister passed by just now, she gave you the finger. Damn. Su Zhe, who was slumped on the ground, froze for a moment, then cursed, gritting his teeth as he shakily got back up. This little girl dared to give her brother the finger? Damn it, who does she look down on? Seeing Su Zhe stand up again, a scheming look appeared in Ding Chongfeng's eyes. Jia 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 jia. A cold and eerie laughter echoed from above them. Ding Chongfeng and Su Zhe's expressions changed simultaneously as they looked up, only to see a grotesque spider coldly staring at them from atop the high wall, its numerous compound eyes flickering with a crimson glow. Run! As soon as Ding Chongfeng spoke, Su Zhe had already screamed and shot out like an arrow, leaving him behind in the blink of an eye. Ding Chongfeng. This brother and sister are both monsters. He couldn't help but mutter, pulling his legs to run in the direction away from Aju. Just then a strand of spider silk shot out and stuck to his ankle, causing him to lose his balance and fall to the ground. Oh no! Ding Chongfeng's heart sank. At that moment, a swift figure rushed in from a distance, a dagger slicing through the air, accurately severing the spider silk beneath Ding Chongfeng's feet. A girl dashed to Ding Chongfeng's side, pulling him up from the ground with force, then dodging Aju's pursuit while dragging him forward at high speed. Ding Chongfeng hadn't yet reacted to what had just happened. No need to thank me, it's just a small effort. The girl glanced back at him. You're Ding Chongfeng, right? I saw you during the assessment. Your stamina isn't bad. Not bad, I'm originally from the military. Ding Chongfeng adjusted his stance, running alongside the girl. What's your name? It's rare to see a girl with such good stamina. Li Zhenjin. The girl replied, I'm a temporary member of the Night Watch and my stamina is decent. Ding Chongfeng nodded, secretly noting down the name Li Zhenjin. We can't go any further. Another team of mysteries has surrounded us. A light figure floated beside them on a broken wall, moving silently at their speed. Fang Emo said unflustered, follow me. Chapter 845. I am Lu Baoyu. Under Fang Mo's guidance, Ding Chongfeng and Li Zhenjin precisely broke through two encirclements set by the caregivers, temporarily shaking them off. Ding Chongfeng leaned against the wall, drenched in sweat. He glanced at Li Zhenjin, who was only slightly out of breath, and then at Fang Emo, who seemed unfazed atop the wall, his mouth twitching uncontrollably. Why are there so many monsters in this training camp? How much time is left? 8 minutes. No wonder, Fang Emo nodded. These mysterious attacks are becoming increasingly fierce and organized. They don't seem like random assaults. It must be Instructor Lin controlling them from behind, putting pressure on us. What should we do? Li Zhenjin said, distressed. If it's that person personally arranging the attacks, we might not escape this time. That shouldn't be the case, right? Ding Chongfeng exhaled deeply, his heartbeat slowing down. Instructor Lin is probably just trying to conduct physical training under extreme conditions. The primary goal isn't to eliminate us all, so there must be a way out. Exactly. Fang Emo nodded in agreement. I can sense the positions of these mysterious entities. Just keep following me, we should be able to last a few more minutes. All right. The three exchanged glances and began to weave through the complex terrain again, evading the surrounding mysterious pursuers. A few minutes later, the familiar whistle sounded again, and the numerous mysterious figures simultaneously halted, retreating like a tide, disappearing without a trace. Training is over. Lin Chie's calm voice echoed in every corner of the training camp. All surviving recruits, gather on the playground within 3 minutes. Upon hearing this, Ding Chongfeng and the others who had been tense all along finally relaxed. They didn't stop but headed directly toward the playground. After all, their stamina had reached its limit, and if they let their guard down again, it would be difficult to make it back to the playground. They had narrowly avoided the fate of being locked in the small black room. It would be too frustrating to be punished again for such a strange reason. When Fang Emo arrived at the playground, he realized that the surviving recruits were indeed very few. Besides him, Li Zhenjin, Ding Chongfeng, and the quarreling siblings Su Zhou and Su Yuan, there were only 2 or 3 others, all of whom wore expressions of relief after surviving. Su Yuan, what do you mean? Why did you just give me the finger? Are you sick or something? Why are you still cursing? Can't you show some respect for your brother? Brother, are you sick or something? Watching the bickering siblings, Ding Chongfeng cleared his throat a couple of times and silently turned away. At the same time, several figures in deep red cloaks were slowly approaching. Su Zhe and Su Yuan immediately shut their mouths, obediently standing in a line with the others, heads bowed in silence. You all performed very well. Lin Chie's gaze swept over the group. Congratulations, you have avoided the fate of entering the small black room. Now you can go to the cafeteria to prepare for your meal. Joy immediately appeared in their eyes. Lin Chia opened his mouth, seemingly about to say something more, but suddenly paused and turned to look at the entrance of the training camp. His eyes narrowed slightly. Qingyu, it's up to you from here. I need to step away for a moment, Lin Chia said after a brief hesitation, addressing Qingyu, who was wearing a Tang Xing mask. Qingyu nodded. Lin Chia's figure flickered and then left the spot. Outside the training camp, a ragged boy with his left eye closed was slowly walking along a small path. Stop. On the watchtower outside the training camp, several sniper rifles instantly locked onto him, and the officers stationed outside frowned. Who are you? Why are you here? The boy raised his head and calmly said, My name is Lu Baoyu. I'm here to participate in the new recruit training. The officers were taken aback, and after checking their records they replied again. Lu Baoyu, your qualification as a recruit has been revoked. Go home. I've already gone back, Lu Baoyu replied indifferently. So, I've come back again? You shouldn't have come back. Your qualification has been revoked and we can't let you in. Several sniper rifles were aimed at Lu Baoyu from different angles, showing no signs of backing down. They were not instructors of this training camp but officers responsible for perimeter monitoring. They didn't care why Lu Baoyu had left or why his qualification was revoked. Their mission was to guard this gate and prevent unauthorized individuals from entering. Lu Baoyu glanced at the officers but said nothing further. Instead he slowly sat down on the ground. In front of the vast training camp he sat there like a homeless child, stubborn and resolute. The officers frowned. What do we do now? One of the officers whispered. He's just a kid here for training, not an enemy. We can't just shoot him, can we? That shouldn't be necessary. Send a vehicle to take him back. Can he even get in the car with us? Then just drag him. We can't let him sit here forever, can we? He's a pitiful child after all. At that moment, a shadow emerged from the training camp behind the watchtower, taking the form of a man draped in a deep red cloak, slowly walking over. Captain Lin. Captain Lin. Seeing Lin Chia, the officers saluted and stepped back a half step. Lin Chia acknowledged them with a sound, his gaze falling on Lu Baoyu in front of the watchtower. Noticing his tightly closed left eye, his expression slightly tightened. At the same time, the white blade of Zhang Bai materialized from the void, automatically returning to its sheath, and a phantom of a white bear flashed by, as if whispering something to Lin Chia. A smile flickered at the corner of Lin Chia's mouth before he returned to calm. He walked past the watchtower and approached Lu Baoyu. Have you found your answer? He asked lightly. Yes. Lu Baoyu, sitting on the ground, looked up at Lin Chia, furrowing his brow. After a moment of hesitation he stood up to meet his gaze on equal footing. I've already gone back home and I've found my answer. Now I want to come back, he said earnestly. Lin Chia looked at Lu Baoyu's remaining eye and fell silent for a moment. Tell me, who are you? I am Lu Baoyu. That's not what I asked. My answer is this. Lu Baoyu replied calmly, whether as the agent of a fallen angel or the son of the night watchman Lu Qiu. I am not anyone's puppet, nor am I anyone's shadow. I just want to walk my own path. Chapter 846, 3 Chances. Hearing this response, Lin Chia raised his eyebrows slightly, seemingly a bit surprised. That's a good answer. Can I go back to being a rookie soldier? No, Lin Chia shook his head. Your rookie qualification has already been revoked. That's an irreversible fact. But you said that if I found the answer I could come back to you. But I never said that your rookie qualification could be restored. Lu Baoyu's brows furrowed tightly, and a flicker of anger ignited uncontrollably in his eyes. But soon he forcibly suppressed it. He took a deep breath, slowly relaxing his clenched fists, and continued, I understand, then I will wait here until I can be let in. Although his words were calm and his voice not loud, there was an immense determination conveyed between the lines. He was serious. Wait here. Lin Chia smiled slightly. When did I ever make you wait here? Lu Baoyu did not immediately grasp Lin Chia's meaning and continued earnestly, I haven't entered the training camp's area, nor have I disturbed the training inside. I'm just waiting outside and won't cause any trouble for anyone. No, you don't understand. Lin Chia shook his head. You indeed do not have the qualification to become a rookie night watchman, but that doesn't mean you can't go in. Lu Baoyu was stunned in place. I allow you to enter the training camp and participate in training with the other rookies, but you do not have the identity of a rookie. The scores in the assessments will be meaningless to you. In simple terms, you are just an auditor, present in the training camp but detached from the night watchman. Without waiting for Lu Baoyu to speak, Lin Chia continued. Of course, just because you don't have the qualification to become a night watchman now doesn't mean you won't have it in the future. If one day in the future you achieve significant merit, I believe the night watchman will make an exception to reinstate you as a formal night watchman. This is destined to be a bumpy and uncertain road. No one can guarantee that you will have the opportunity to join the night watchman in the future. This also means that the efforts you put in during this period may yield no returns at all. Lu Baoyu stared blankly at Lin Chia, and after a long time he finally came to his senses. Not a rookie, yet able to participate in training? Does the night watchman's regulations allow for this? You don't need to worry about that. Lin Chia replied casually. I am the captain of the Nightfall team and a special instructor at this training camp, so I naturally have special privileges. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Baoyu's right eye sparkled with excitement. He hesitated for a moment but then nodded firmly. All right. I agree. Although he did not gain the qualification to become a rookie night watchman and train in the camp in a proper manner, this at least provided Lu Baoyu with a possibility. After all, it was better than waiting at the entrance of the training camp every day, betting his fate on the mercy of others. He wanted to take control of his own destiny, even if this path was fraught with thorns. Lin Chia nodded slightly. Come with me. Lin Chia turned around and walked straight toward the training camp, with Lu Baoyu following closely behind. The officers present saw this scene and did not step forward to stop them, allowing them to pass without obstruction. Captain Lin. As they entered the training camp's gate, Lu Baoyu hesitated to speak. Call me Instructor. Instructor Lin. Lu Baoyu couldn't help but ask, why are you helping me? Clearly our positions are different, we should be enemies. You're so strong, why not just erase my existence directly? Instead you want to help me. Different positions? Lin Chia glanced at him indifferently. Positions are not simply black and white. He stopped, extended his hand and pointed to Lu Baoyu's remaining right eye. Positions depend on your perspective and how far you can see. What do you mean? Lu Baoyu was somewhat confused. Earlier, why did you want to kill me? Because this is the contract that Lucifer signed with me. If I don't kill you within 10 years, my soul will be taken and I will be doomed. But if I kill you, I can gain even greater power. Lu Baoyu did not hide anything. Lin Chia was not surprised by this. You wanted to kill me because in your eyes, you only saw Lucifer, only saw your own power and safety. Lin Chia extended his hand, pointing toward the horizon, where the setting sun and deep blue sky met. But this world is not just about Lucifer and Michael. It is not just about you, Lu Baoyu, and me. There are cities, mountains, seas, night watchmen, the great Xia mists and countless outer gods hidden within the mist. If your perspective is limited by yourself, then the position you see is only the personal feud between Lucifer and Michael, only the life and death battle between us. But if you broaden your view, you will find that before being agents, we are all human, we are all from the Great Xia. If the Great Xia cannot persist in this turbulent world, then it is not just us who will perish, but also our cherished family and friends. Which is more important, the 10-year life and death period or the survival of the Great Xia? Which should be prioritized? Have you truly understood this priority? Your existence is indeed a threat to me, but if you can look further ahead, as long as you can find your place and gradually grow, it will be a good thing for the Great Xia. Lin Chia turned his head and continued walking toward the training camp. The breeze brushed against his deep red cloak and his voice slowly drifted back. Our positions have been the same from the beginning. You just haven't seen clearly. Lu Baoyu stared at that deep red figure frozen in place. After an unknown amount of time, his expression grew complex. He took a deep breath and bowed deeply to Lin Chia's back. Thank you, Instructor Lin, for your guidance. There's no need to thank me. I simply stood in my position and did what I believed was right. Lin Chia spoke calmly. Of course, positions are positions. I won't use this so-called righteousness to bind your morals and make you give up your soul. Considering you are my junior, I will give you 3 chances. 3 chances to kill me. Lu Baoyu's body trembled upon hearing this. In these 3 chances, you can ignore my identity and status and attempt to assassinate me in any form, regardless of whether you are a night watchman or whether I am the captain of Nightfall. This is a battle that exists solely between us, the 2 enemy agents. Even if you kill me, no one will hold you accountable. Before the 3 chances are used up, I will not kill you, but if you fail your 3rd assassination, I will directly extinguish your soul and body before Lucifer makes his move. The first one was during the preliminary assessment. Now you have 2 chances left. Chapter 847. Unfortunate Fish Cake. Lu Baoyu was stunned. Looking at Lin Qia's back, he suddenly realized that he and the other party were not on the same level in terms of strength, vision, or depth of thought. Clearly, Lin Qia was only a few years older than him, but for some reason in front of him Lu Baoyu felt like a child. Naive, superficial, completely led by the nose. All right. After a long silence, Lu Baoyu finally uttered this word. Just as Lin Qia said, he could not give up his soul for these illusory things. He was also a living human being entitled to pursue life. And the 3 opportunities Lin Qia gave him allowed him to achieve a stable balance between the survival of the Great Xia and his own life and death. He could do what he wanted to do and had the chance to pursue the qualification to live. Over there is the dormitory building. Go find a dormitory to settle down, pack your things, and then come to the cafeteria. Leave the other instructors to me. Lin Qia casually dropped this sentence and disappeared from the spot. Lu Baoyu stood alone in front of the empty dormitory building, staring at the place where Lin Qia had vanished, not knowing how long it had been, murmuring to himself. One day I will catch up to you. Are you personally going to vouch for Lu Baoyu? On the phone, Yuan Gang was surprised by Lin Qia's words. Is it really worth it for him? This isn't for him, it's for the Night Watchers, Lin Qia replied. That kid has something in his eyes that other Night Watchers don't have. Give him some more time and I think he will grow to an unexpected level. If that's the case, I can apply directly to the higher-ups to restore his rookie qualification. After all, he is a divine agent, and with you vouching for him, I think the higher-ups will agree. No, that's not necessary. Lin Qia decisively refused. To forge a good sword requires countless refinements. Too smooth a growth would not be a good thing for him. Yuan Gang on the other end of the line fell silent. Hello? Instructor Yuan, can you hear me? I can hear you, I'm just thinking about some things. Yuan Gang chuckled. Qia, have you noticed that you're becoming more and more like someone? Who? Yi Fan. Lin Qia was taken aback. Your vision, your perspective, your methods, and the way you teach your juniors. It's very similar to the young Yi Fan. Yuan Gang couldn't help but sigh. Our great Xia Night Watchers are gaining another pillar. You flatter me. Lin Qia smiled helplessly. I've arrived at the cafeteria, I'll hang up for now. Lin Qia hung up the phone, looked up at the already crowded cafeteria, adjusted his attire and stepped inside. Inside the cafeteria, it was already packed with new recruits. After the escape training ended, the new recruits who had been locked in the small black room were released, each looking like soulless zombies who had lost their dreams, standing blankly in front of empty tables. Hey, what did you all experience in the small black room? Suja nudged his companion beside him, unable to help but ask. The companion seemed to recall some bad memories, turning pale, covering his face with his hands and painfully replied, they used tentacles to tickle us. What? Suja was taken aback, thinking he had misheard. Tentacles? Tickling. In that warehouse there's a group of tentacle monsters. I don't know what kind of mystery they are, but they carry a strange current that can amplify a person's senses dozens of times. Do you know how terrifying it is when the sensation of itching is amplified dozens of times? Despair flickered in his companion's eyes. I felt countless times that my soul was about to leave my body. That does sound pretty bad. Suja felt a chill under his feet. But if that's all there is to it, it doesn't seem too terrifying, right? No, it's definitely not just that. The companion said seriously. Tickling is just the first step. In that warehouse there's a complete massage assembly line. After your senses are amplified dozens of times, every acupoint pressed, every jab, every knock is a form of torture. After this round of massage, almost everyone faints 2 or 3 times. It's simply the torment of a hellish purgatory. I'd rather be killed in training than go back in there. The fear in his companion's eyes came from the depths of his soul. What are those mysteries? What's with the massage? Suja complained. From what I heard during the mysteries communication, they seem to come from some Ministry of Internal Affairs? The leader is a silver cube, and those tentacle monsters are its subordinates. Ministry of Internal Affairs? What a strange name. Just as they were talking, an elderly man with a dark complexion, accompanied by several instructors, began distributing dinner to the new recruits, pushing several large carts of food. A stainless steel basin contained a piece of raw meat and a lump that looked like chocolate but also resembled bread, emitting a faint greenish glow under the cafeteria's harsh white lights, accompanied by a sour and foul odor that made people frown. What is that thing? I don't know, it smells so bad. Is this food? No, the taste of food is fresher than this, and it usually isn't this sticky unless... Ugh. Don't say it. Shut up. The new recruits collectively frowned at the stainless steel basins in front of them and the two things that hardly qualified as food, unable to help but exchange glances filled with confusion. Quiet. And Qingyu stood at the entrance of the cafeteria, scanning the new recruits with a calm gaze. The noisy cafeteria immediately fell silent. Eat. Still just two simple and understandable words, but this time the faces of the new recruits were filled with bewilderment. Report. Speak. Instructor, and where is our food? Food. And Qingyu raised an eyebrow. Isn't it right in front of you? The new recruits looked again at the stainless steel basin, and several voices rang out simultaneously, but there's nothing edible here. Yeah, this meat is still raw and has blood on it. What is this black lump? Why does it smell so strange? Instructor, and is there a mistake somewhere? Before Qingyu could respond, Chao Yuan behind him raised his right hand and slammed it heavily on the table beside him. Bang! The dull sound echoed throughout the cafeteria, and Chao Yuan's sharp gaze swept over the surroundings, causing the new recruits to quiet down immediately. There's no mistake. And Qingyu adjusted his glasses and spoke calmly. The raw meat and the mysterious fish cake that smells like cement in front of you are your dinner for today. Chapter 848, Ruthless Person. Unpleasant fish cake? Cement flavor? Upon hearing these two names, the new recruits were left in confusion. They lowered their heads to carefully confirm the raw meat and the black, unknown viscous substance on their plates. Some even tried a bite, and their faces immediately turned pale as they began to gag violently. Is this really food for humans? This is disgusting, really disgusting. I've never eaten anything worse than this. This is dinner? Are you serious? I can't eat this at all. And we've been exhausted all day. This little bit won't replenish our energy at all. Protests arose again among the new recruits. Although many had begun to accept the grueling training pace of the camp, seeing this absurd dinner, many still found it hard to accept. Sorry, you have no choice, and Qingyu's voice was devoid of any emotion. You either eat this dinner while pinching your nose, or you can faint from hunger on the training field tomorrow and be dragged away by me. I'm giving you 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, everyone will gather at the teaching building for the night's theoretical class. You know what happens if you're late. After saying this, Qingyu stepped forward and sat down at a round table at the edge of the cafeteria hall, followed closely by the other members of Team Nightfall. Bai Li Pangpang scanned the pale-faced recruits with a smirk, rubbed his hands together and quickly headed toward the kitchen. The new recruits stared at the dinner in front of them, falling into silence. Bang! At that moment, the cafeteria door was suddenly flung open. A boy dressed in recruit attire and wearing a black eye patch stood outside the cafeteria door. He scanned the silent cafeteria with his right eye, his brow slightly furrowing. After a moment, he stepped forward and walked straight to the nearest dining table, grabbing the raw meat from the stainless steel basin without hesitation and stuffing it into his mouth, devouring it ravenously. In the quiet cafeteria, only the sounds of Lu Baoyu tearing into the raw meat and swallowing it could be heard. After quickly finishing the raw meat, he picked up another piece of the black, cement-flavored, unpleasant fish cake, and without a word bit into half of it and began to chew. His expression froze in place. His Adam's apple convulsed violently and he bent over uncontrollably as if he wanted to spit out the unpleasant fish cake, but ultimately managed to suppress his instincts and forced himself to swallow the food. He took a breath, grabbed a cup of water from the table and gulped it down. Then pinching his nose he grabbed the remaining unpleasant fish cake, stuffed it into his mouth, completely giving up on chewing, and swallowed it whole. In less than a minute Lu Baoyu finished the raw meat and the unpleasant fish cake, wiped his mouth and walked out the door without looking back, heading alone toward the teaching building. In the dead silence of the cafeteria, over 600 new recruits stared blankly at his departing figure, their mouths agape in shock. Even Qingyu took a while to react, glancing at the now empty stainless steel basin that Lu Baoyu had cleaned out, his expression somewhat complex. He actually finished the unpleasant fish cake in 2 bites? Qingyu murmured, "This kid is quite tough, huh? Not bad, right?" Lin Chia's voice drifted into his ears. Qingyu turned his head and saw that Lin Chia had quietly taken a seat next to him, smiling as he watched Lu Baoyu leave. Qingyu nodded. That kind of toughness is indeed rare. But his temperament seems different from before? What did you do to him? Seeing Qingyu's puzzled expression, Lin Chia shrugged. I just did what a coach is supposed to do. As the two conversed, a crisp sound of plates being set down echoed in the cafeteria. Fang Mo, with a pale face, took a deep breath and swallowed the last bite of unpleasant fish cake in his mouth, then silently left the cafeteria, heading straight toward the teaching building. The second person to finish dinner appeared, and more brave recruits began to attempt eating. However, Qingyu's specially made unpleasant fish cake was simply too fierce. Some people could only take a bite before bending over to vomit, while others with stronger constitutions forced down most of the unpleasant fish cake, but could no longer hold it in, gulping down a few sips of water before leaving the cafeteria. Watching everyone's reactions, Bai Li Pangpang skeptically picked up a piece of unpleasant fish cake and looked at Qingyu. Is this really that bad? Why don't you give it a try? Qingyu smiled slightly. After hesitating for a moment, Bai Li Pangpang took a small bite of the unpleasant fish cake, and his body shuddered, his eyes turning green. He forced himself to chew a couple of times and swallowed it. His expression completely changed as he looked at Qingyu. Are you a devil? How did you create such inhumane food? Mystery combined with science, Qingyu pushed up his glasses mysteriously. Don't underestimate this piece of fish cake. Although it's small, the energy contained within is enough to sustain an adult man without food or water for 3 days. Even with high-intensity exercise, it can last a day and a half. Even if those recruits only eat half a piece, it's definitely enough for them to last a whole day. At the very least, it shouldn't make them faint during training, unless they eat nothing at all. Bai Li Pangpang glanced around the cafeteria. But I see there are quite a few who haven't eaten a single bite. People always need to grow, Shen Qingzhu interjected unexpectedly. While the group was chatting, a rich aroma of food wafted from the kitchen. The new recruits, still struggling with the inhumane food, perked up, staring intently at a certain spot. They saw Old Sun personally carrying several plates of hot dishes, walking over to the round table where Lin Chia and the others were seated, smiling as he placed the dishes on their table. Lin Chia, Bai Li Pangpang, Chao Yuan, and Shen Qingzhu immediately stood up and deeply bowed to the unassuming old man. Jia Lan and the others, though not knowing him, politely followed suit. Old Sun, long time no see, Lin Chia said with a smile. Hey, you little brats, what are you doing? Old Sun was slightly taken aback by their synchronized bowing and quickly helped them up, jokingly scolding, Are you trying to make this old man live longer? Old Sun, what are you talking about? Chao Yuan said, When we graduated from the training camp back then, we bowed to you like this too. Old Sun shook his head, Not the same, not the same. I'm still that old man cooking for the rookies, but you all are no longer the rookies of back then. Chapter 849, Lu Baoyu and Fang Mo, There's nothing different. Lin Chia smiled slightly, We will always be the new recruits who walked out of this camp. Hee, stop standing around, sit down and try the dinner specially prepared for you to welcome you back. Old General Sun brought the dishes one by one to the dining table. The steam rising from the freshly cooked food mixed with the aroma of the dishes. Spicy crayfish, stir-fried clams, chicken stewed with mushrooms and 3 fresh vegetables. In just a moment, 9 dishes and a soup were neatly arranged on the dining table of Lin Chia and the others, making the eyes of the other new recruits widen. The sound of swallowing saliva echoed continuously. Isn't this just normal food? Why can't we eat it? Soon someone among the new recruits couldn't help but protest. Before Lin Chia and the others could respond, old General Sun turned around and glared at the protesting recruit. When you walk out of this training camp and can come back, I'll prepare such a big table of dishes for you. Lin Chia and the others exchanged glances with their chopsticks, smiling silently. Under the imposing presence established by Lin Chia and the others, no one among the new recruits dared to cause trouble again. They could only chew on the raw meat and unpleasant fish cakes on their plates and then headed towards the teaching building. Old Sun's cooking is truly amazing. Chow Yuan picked up a piece of clam, slurped it and couldn't help but exclaim, so familiar. I never expected we would have a day sitting here. Bai Li Pangpang chuckled. Back in the day I envied the mask team sitting here so much. By the way, I wonder how the mask team is doing on their break. They're probably having a great time? I heard they went to Hainan. Calculating the time, their vacation should be ending soon. Lin Chia thought for a moment. By the way, who is teaching the new recruits tonight? It's me. And Qingyu said, tonight I'll teach them the basics of mystical properties and structures. I also need to borrow a few of your subordinates to use as teaching materials. And Qingyu paused and added, don't worry, I won't dissect them, just use them as references. No problem. Lin Chia nodded in agreement. Teaching building. In the empty classroom, Lu Baoyu sat alone in the front row by the window, leaning against the chair, staring out at the bright moon, lost in thought. Creak. The classroom door opened. Lu Baoyu seemed to sense something, his brows slightly furrowing as he turned to look. Fang Emo walked calmly into the classroom, locked the door behind him and stepped toward Lu Baoyu's position. It's you. Lu Baoyu narrowed his eyes, a dangerous glint flashing within. Are you here to pick a fight? No, Fang Emo shook his head. Don't confuse me with a brute like you. Since Lord Chia has decided to let you return, I certainly have no objections. I support all of Lord Chia's choices. Then what are you here for? Fang Emo did not rush to answer. He slowly walked to Lu Baoyu's desk, swiftly drew a short knife from his pocket and slammed it onto the desk. The blade of the short knife reflected the pale moonlight, glaringly shining on Lu Baoyu's face, exuding a murderous aura. Lu Baoyu's brows furrowed even tighter. He sat up from his chair, looking directly at Fang Emo, and a furious crimson hue appeared in his right eye. I won't pick a fight first, nor will I make things difficult for you. Fang Emo stared unflinchingly into Lu Baoyu's right eye and said coldly, but I will keep a close watch on you. I know the identity of the deity you are acting for. If you dare to harm Lord Chia, even if you defy his orders, I will kill you. Oh. Lu Baoyu's eyes narrowed, a cold smile appearing. Just you? What do you think you are? A pair of dark red winged shadows materialized behind Lu Baoyu. His right eye was blood red, and the violent and rampant aura of the fallen angel instantly filled the entire classroom, crashing toward Fang Emo like a tidal wave. Fang Emo stood calmly amidst the surging violent divine power, like a rock unmoving. In the next moment, a faint white light radiated from his body, and a peaceful yet domineering divine power rolled out from within him, like a rushing river of divine energy, colliding head-on with Lu Baoyu's fallen angel power. One dark red, one faint white, two completely different divine powers crazily rubbed and surged in the small classroom, standing against each other. Great Xia God! Lu Baoyu sensed the divine power fluctuations from Fang Emo and his expression tightened. You are the agent of the Great Xia God? Fang Emo stood quietly in the center of the divine energy river, not answering him at all. The short knife embedded in Lu Baoyu's desk vibrated with a buzzing sound from the clash of the two divine powers, and the desk showed signs of cracking. At this moment outside the classroom, Ding Chongfeng, Su Zhu and Su Yuan, who had just arrived at the classroom together, stood stiffly at the door, feeling the terrifying power fluctuations coming from inside. They exchanged glances, their expressions extremely strange. What is going on? Su Zhu couldn't help but whisper. Are those two fighting inside? Of course, can't you tell? They're about to tear this classroom apart. Su Yuan rolled his eyes. Should we go in and mediate? Mediation? 10 of you combined wouldn't be enough for those two to fight. I say, Su Yuan, are you underestimating your brother too much? While the siblings bickered, Ding Chongfeng stood at the classroom door, raising his arms several times to knock, but ultimately lowered it again. The clash of divine powers inside the classroom was simply too terrifying. If they rushed in, they might get hurt for no reason. Better to call the instructor to handle it. Just as Ding Chongfeng turned to leave, a figure slowly approached from the end of the corridor. A third wave of divine power suddenly descended. The moment this divine power fluctuation appeared, both Lu Baoyu and Fang Emo in the classroom were taken aback, turning to look toward the door. Bang! The classroom door was kicked open, and Li Jinjin stood behind it with a golden heart-shaped bow and arrow, aiming the arrow tip at the two, frowning as she spoke. "Stop it!" Seeing the heart-shaped bow and arrow, Fang Mo's eyes narrowed slightly. After hesitating for a moment, he withdrew the short knife from the desk, and the fluctuations of divine power on his body gradually receded. "If you want to fight, go to the training ground." Li Jinjin waved her hand to disperse the heart-shaped bow and arrow, speaking unhappily, "Blocking the classroom like this, how are we supposed to have class later?" Seeing Fang Emo back down, Lu Baoyu snorted coldly and also withdrew his divine power, the turbulent atmosphere in the classroom gradually calming down. Sigh. Ding Chongfeng glanced at Li Jinjin in front of him, then at the standoff between Lu Baoyu and Fang Emo in the classroom and couldn't help but sigh. Why are there so many prodigies in this training camp?